Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Edge.
I was tired of doing the same thing over and over again.
Everybody's nervous system is going to be dysregulated.
You got to know yourself and also know that you're going to change. There's a mechanism that helps protect us and our base, and that's called the nervous system.
People do not realize in today's world
how important that is to regulate that.
Stop chasing symptoms.
Start regulating your nervous system and all your crap will go away.
Danielle changed me. Welcome to Uncommon Edge, and today, oh my God, this is a special moment. Special moment. I have Danielle in the house.
I know. Can you imagine?
Can you imagine if someone...
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah,
all right, hold on. So, Danielle and I have known each other since 2010.
Yeah.
I think that's
2010.
the last time we did a little timeline. See, what happens is when you get a little older, you start going, what year was that? Okay, so here's the deal. Danielle, at the time I met her, was a personal trainer. And I had dabbled with having personal trainers, but I never had a female personal trainer. So it was like really kind of like different, right? Danielle changed me, okay? Like,
oh, yes.
you literally took me from mop and slop to bam.
Like what are you doing? And you're like, well, I got this, I got that. And actually, you approached me. You had approached me, and he was like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. And I'm like, yeah. And I usually wait, and a month later, you're like, I asked you if you could help me. And I was like, oh, he's serious. So bam, we started doing some things. And I'm like, you're making it harder than what it is. You just got to be like, stop. And no offense to anything prior to you, it might have just not clicked.
Right.
And so, we got some transformation pictures to show. I think that was a year or 2 years. I think it's a year of transformation for you. Think about it.
Couple years.
Maybe about 2 years, almost 2 years.
Yeah.
But it's incredible.
That was
so that transformation picture was huge. And there was a lot of life choices that you had given up and then focused on that. But the same effort, like the daily workouts, a little bit more conscientious on your food intake and a little bit of supplementation that kind of helped you out that you were missing. And it was just, filing off those rough edges, and bam, that's what happened.
I'm telling you, the food for me was the hardest thing. I always thought you could out-train your diet, okay? Correct. You really brought that...
reverse.
Got me kind of like thinking in a completely different way. In the way that you would train and just the different sets and how you incorporate the 500s.
Oh my God, the 500s. Yeah,
she jacked me up. These 500 workouts, I'm like, oh my God, my nervous system was all shot.
Well, I know.
You're like, listen, we're only going to do it every so often.
I know.
I'm quivering.
Every 8 weeks and stuff, and it was a hypertrophy moment for you to say, okay, we're going to shock the muscle, and then you're going to break.
Yeah.
But we met in 2010. So by this time, I'd had almost 18, 19 years of experience in the bodybuilding and fitness world, just judging, promoting, competing way back in the early 1990s.
Which I think we should probably share some photos.
Oh, gosh, me?
Yes.
Oh, gosh. We will. We will do that. Oh, I have not. And, this is funny because all I have is literally Polaroid copies. Actual hard copies that I had to scan.
Oh
so it's,
God.
1990s, so it's great. But man, one of the things that we've always been able to do as friends is just encourage the journey. And there's been so many journeys with him, so many journeys with myself, and we always, go our different direction and somehow always circle back around and say, hey, how are you doing? And how are you doing? And they're like, remember when we said this? And remember when we said this? This is just it's nostalgic also. And we
Yes.
both promised each other that we were not going to get emotional on this, but so we apologize if that even happens. But
we could literally go without seeing or talking to one another for 10 years and pick up right where we left off.
And there was a kindred spirit at that when we first met too,
Yep.
which I think that and kind of gave that door opening. So you were like, hey, I need some help. I think she's that person. And we just hit it off. We're like, like two buddies. And there's a lot more to that. There was a joke that I was telling you about, and that led to someone hearing that joke. And then that's led to some really great networking and success on my end. And, it's a journey. One thing leads to another, and then it leads to another. And we sit back and we're like, okay, when did this start? Like, where was this beginning? And you just realize those moments in time. I think of Benjamin Button or something like that. If something just didn't happen, would we be in the same place?
Well, think about some of the people that, crossed our paths and like, we're still friends to this
definitely.
because of
correct.
Just that connection and one thing. And that's one thing you got to realize, okay? Making connections in life, and I'm not saying business, it can be personal, it can be all of it, but having real connections with people, that's the real wealth.
So there's a story I want to talk to you. So back in 2015, 16, you had approached me and you're like, hey, Danielle, the new thing is training online. You got to do an online basis. And I'm like, and I thank you for always pushing me past my comfortable zone. But I was like, no, Dave, I want to keep it real. Plus, I was trying to get into med school, which is a whole other story. But I was trying,
That's right. You were good.
Yeah, I was. Well, I actually got accepted and then ended up going naturopathic medicine. Yeah. Journey. Okay.
Journey.
Things that change our projection or trajectory. Anyway, so I remember saying to you, I was like, no, the choices on the online is going to turn around, and this is something that's always going to be an intimate relationship. You're going to it's going to be good, and then sooner or later, there's going to be so many choices, and that personal touch is going to be missed, and that it's going to circle around. And I do believe we are there where you want that gravitation of energy of that person that's with you and that personable stuff. Those people that are intricate change of direction in our lives are still part of our lives if we wanted it to be, or we cross paths. And I don't think that's by chance. By no means. It's there for a reason. And so when you get older, you start stopping and thinking about all of those things and what really, really is important in life.
Now, let's talk about it, because, again, trainer, you were a trainer at other people's gyms.
Correct.
And then the entrepreneur spirit just bit you.
Yes, it was.
And you did your own thing. So let's because I want to connect some of the dots here.
Correct.
Because again, the journey is insane, okay? Don't, and I want everyone to realize, I know we always focus at the goal. The goal. I get it. Yes, that's the motivation, but it's the journey where it's really...
It's a journey, and you get to know yourself, and that's the first thing. You got to know yourself, and also know that you're going to change. You are going to change in that journey. One of the biggest things was what I'm doing now is exactly what I thought I was going to do there, but it's not the direction or the journey that I thought. One of the things was I thought I had to get that education, which I did get a lot of education, but I wasn't going to be recognized for my expertise, or that if I didn't achieve that DR in front of my name, all of that. But what I've definitely done is saying, okay, this is what's missing. And that journey gave me that. If I were to done the conventional, I don't think I would have the knowledge, the experience, or the passion that I need for that missing factor. I would just be like the masses. And so it was a limiting belief system that I had that was deep inside that I had to overcome in order for me to say, oh my gosh, I believe I have something very valuable, and it's been showing in a lot of things, my brick and mortar, what I have going on online, and now I'm coaching people and therapists on how to do that. So it is something that is great, and it's not the things that they can attain by going to those schools. And I'm not reinventing the wheel, but definitely giving a bit different perspective.
Let's go back, because entrepreneurs do this, right? We pick up like, oh, we're in the middle of this, that, and the other. Okay, so let's go back. How much self-doubt did you have? I want to go there, okay? Because that's one of those where you push it down deep, where you're like, I don't want to bring that back. But when you opened up your first plate, like, what were you going through mentally? Because I want other people out there that are struggling. Maybe they're on their journey and they're going to do something big, and it's like self-doubt creeps in, fear, all these things. Like,
all of them.
What kept you going and moving forward?
Okay, so the only way that you can create change is when the status quo is more uncomfortable than the fear of change. Okay, you get out of those two lines. And oddly enough, getting into med school was, I can do it if I needed to. Then choosing naturopathic, because it was in line with more of my thoughts, was even better. But when I got there, that's when it was assurance of saying, this is what I know. Okay, I know this. It was a little bit of empowerment as well as educational, but I already know this. I already know there's a lot of value. Don't get me wrong. But that was where my confidence was, because I was assurance. Now, the other thing was to actually execute it. Okay, so it kind of removed a little bit of self-doubt. And still, there is self-doubt, saying how now that I'm venturing on the online aspect, not just in the physical community, there is those same doubts are still there. I just have to overpower them. And they're there for safekeeping, hey, do you know your shit? I'm like, because you're going to put yourself out there. But the other half on the execution was, COVID was a pivotal point. I was tired. I was tired of doing the same thing over and over again. So my status quo became unbearable, where I said, something's got to give. Something has got to give. On the other hand, I was tired of saying the same thing over and over again to the people that are coming through my door, saying, can you help me out with this? This is what I'm having problems with. All of that. And it was always, how can I help them?
Right.
In finding that puzzle and saying, okay, here. And then they referring. And that is where people ask me, well, what are you doing? How are you doing it? How can you do this for 17 hours a day? And that's where the tiredness was. And I was like, there's a revolving door. And there is a level of service that I'm actually giving to these individuals that they're not able to get anywhere else. And I'm not putting myself on any pedestal. it's a different perspective.
Correct.
And I'm like, where is the dysfunction, and why is no one doing this? Or if the ones that were doing that, they're just as tired as I am.
Right.
Okay. And something's got to change. And so I built the brick and mortar to obviously service my individuals that I already had existing, plus have a physical, because I needed to teach.
Right.
And I waited. I was there for 2.5 years before the right individuals came through the door. I've been able to duplicate it and then execute that larger outreach that I'm doing. And you got to understand, I have people, clientele, that do this for a living at a large amount, and probably the best in the world. And I needed to do it on a stubborn aspect on my terms, mainly because of where I believe that source of that guidance, that knowledge came from, and just make sure that it was held in kid glove hands, And
isn't that crazy? Like, you thought the deal was going to be opening up brick and mortar
first.
You opened it. And then I waited. It still didn't hit.
Correct.
And then 2 years of going, I don't know if this is really what I should be doing.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
And then all of a sudden it hit. So when it hit, what was that feeling? What was it? Was it just multiple people throughout a week or a month, or you're like, hey, wait a minute. did you start connecting the dots going, oh, there it is?
Well, honestly, it's like any entrepreneurship. When you're trying to duplicate yourself, it's not about trying to find the same people with a skill set or an acumen or anything. In this case, you need some, but it's about finding people that see the vision that you have and grasping it just as passionately as you are. Once you have that established, then you can start moving forward and you could build. But until you have that, it can't happen. So one of the things is that you have to be defined in what that vision is and what is your passion. And then I don't know the true answer. Do you just wait for it to come to you, which I did, or do you go and try to announce it and try to seek people finding, hey, I think there's a little bit of faith in that, and that he definitely delivers on his time, though. So that 2 year
his time,
and that is because there were many. I have been proposed, hey, let's do this. I like what you do for me. Let's do this on this platform, and that discernment was no, that's not right. And that's a hard call because I didn't know if that was my stubbornness or if it just was not his time, you would say.
Break down a little bit and share with the audience, like, exactly what do you do?
My elevator speech.
Yes.
I regulate the nervous system to achieve your wellness and fitness. I believe the nervous system is where it all starts. Everything I've learned in med school, everything I've experienced on my journey, and many, many people, that all I do is change the order of events. I put the nervous system, regulate that. And of course, there's a lot of questions. What does that look like? What does dysregulation look like? It's an individualized, I could give some things. My book says it, so just go ahead and do that. Or just read it, get the book. That'll be the segue into some of these great stories in there. But that's really all I'm doing in my office. And I get about the 25% that the normal protocol doesn't work. And, doctors they don't have time. They're in that protocol, and I get it.
They're like, take 2 pills and call me in the morning.
And that's all their bandwidth is. But they also know that there's another step backwards, but that opens up a whole other Pandora's box. So when I'm turning in, 2.5 years by myself at my brick and mortar, seeing 17 hours of people and having, it's like throwing darts and hitting bullseye. Not, changing their life, but getting them forward, getting them out of that stuck so that the treatment protocol starts working. And these doctors are just sending me more and more, and this is what we need. And so the next question is, well, what are you doing? And so I was like, okay, let me, what isn't going on in my brain, and put it down into a blueprint aspect on saying, how do I approach this? And funneling it down, then seeing what some of my other clientele were doing at a high-end course and intellectual property platform. I was like, well, this is easily duplicated. And that's when I just sat back and waited.
Let's go back a step. When you're putting in a 10, 12, 17-hour day, how do you do that?
Honestly,
you know how some people are like, oh, yeah, I do 18-hour days. It's like, do you really? I know that
no. It is back to back.
I know that you really do that.
There's 17 hours of schedule. That's that was my, and that's like 13 hours. Something from like a 6:30 to like a 7:30, and then going to someone's house afterwards, and coming home at 10 o'clock. And I will say this: when you have that passion, it comes that you don't need to look for that energy. Here's the other thing is that I am literally regulating the nervous system. So in return, I am regulated. And that is where my baseline is. I notice distraction when I'm not working on individuals or working in that one-on-one, because I got to do this, I got to do that. You're taskless, and yet you want to be connected and all of that. So I get to be connected. That's that base. That's that base that everybody needs, that connection. And I get to do that for 17 hours. And that isn't energy expenditure. It's actually energy giving.
Because I remember there was one time I think I came in the afternoon to have some work done, and you were just kind of like, and I'm like, what's up? You're like, man, I'm with people, and like, the energy is sometimes great, good. Or bad.
Or, yes, exactly.
And people don't realize, people do not realize in today's world how important that is to regulate that.
It is very, very, you have to. Especially realtors. I mean, come on, guys.
The cell phones, we're all connected. No one, you can run, but you can't hide, and you're always connected.
Always connected. Here's this. In my book, we talk about 5 spokes of the wheel, okay? The 5th spoke of that wheel is called the environmental spoke. Everything that affects us, but we don't have direct control. We can only affect how we react to it, okay? The other ones, we have controllables on that. So that 5th one, that environment, is not being pessimistic, it's just being realistic. It's not getting better. It is not getting better. And that's just with the technology, the vibration, the EMF that's in this room right now, the lights. It is what it is. We can't run from it, but what we can do is help empower our own regulation. So when you get that humanistic connection, like you were talking about, it should empower you, not drain you. And if it's kind of like those Japanese comics, when that one gets a fireball comes at him and then he empowers it, and then he enhances that power, and then he uses it as a weapon. Okay, that's how I feel when I'm working with someone. I can feel that's draining, or I don't give myself. I get their whether it's a negative energy, and I transform it and then hand it back. Which is showing them how to regulate. You always use that old cliche, like, I don't like to teach a person to fish. Feed a hungry man for a day, feed him, give him fish, feed him for a lifetime, teach him how to fish. So, which actually is kind of funny, because I've been working and had an office doing body work, regulating, coaching for about 10 years now.
Yeah.
With my own brick and mortar for about 4 now. And now I have therapists. I could duplicate all of great success, all of that. But just until I released this book, people that I have been working with for like 7 years are coming back. They're like, oh my gosh, that's what you're doing for me every time I come in here. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys, I've been saying this to you for over every single time. Like, it's about balance. Don't do this, don't do that. And it's about your nervous system. Stop chasing symptoms. Start regulating your nervous system, and all your crap will go away. And now I'm like, all it took was a freaking book.
So,
and they're like,
because they could read it, they were like, oh, that's what you do.
Oh my God. Yes. And honestly, they come in haste. They just know, well, I don't need to worry about it. I just go see Danielle and she'll fix it.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
You could do it on your own. Does it help? Yes. Sometimes there's needs some assistance. And, the call to action on the book is going to be a course. I'm going to have a webinar in maybe about a month. And that webinar is going to give you a small little course like everybody else. But it gives you little tutorials for you to do, to say, hey, this is the blueprint. I could do this on my own. Then it has, obviously, do you want online assistance? But then there's going to be an app. And if you can't approach your wellness and fitness in the way we approach our careers, okay? I got to do this, 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 because there's a mechanism that helps protect us and our base, and that's called the nervous system. And it is built to keep you surviving. And surviving
Fight
is
or
not,
flight, baby.
exactly. And surviving is not wellness. It is actually opposite.
Yeah.
And that's where we, as a collaborative human beings, we get wrong. I get wrong all the time. This is where, in my journey, 2010, I got diagnosed with lupus and did no medication. Has everything to do with what I did for myself and others, is that the nervous system comes first. And if I keep my nervous system regulated, lupus is not even there. What I embrace about lupus is that it keeps me in my boundaries. And if I get a flare-up, if I have anything, that's my fault.
Right.
No one else's.
Because you weren't being proactive.
I'm not. My nervous system isn't balanced, and it gets deep, and it seems simple, and it's supposed to be simple. Just do this ABC application, and you're going to be there. But it's great. Go ahead.
I want to share. Like, I think it was 2013, 14. You know, because I've always had trouble sleeping and all that stuff. Okay, Ambien, blah blah blah.
No.
I remember you're like, you got to get your cell phone away. Where do you put your cell phone? On my nightstand. Well, how far away is that? A foot. Like, disconnecting. And then that's when I started putting it in the bathroom away from me. And I started to sleep better.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Like, that's the kind of stuff that Danielle has done for me over the years, okay? That's just one thing. Yeah. As simple as that, to have your phone away from you.
Correct. Just little things, because they add up. That's why we can't, all that list, with your wellness, I mean, it's chess, not checkers. And you have to understand that, because as we get older, our nervous system learns how to do that better.
Tell me about the book, because, I mean, it's one thing starting a business and doing all this, and I know you well enough to know, but then to put something in black and white and put it out there for everybody to see, like, where were you at mentally on that one?
Well, it was, okay, when you feel passionate about what you do, and you're like, hey, I know that this is going to help other people. I think there's a ethical obligation for you to share it.
Come from a place of service. Ooh, I like that.
And of course, everybody's like, oh, but that's your intellectual property. How do you capitalize on that and stuff? Which is why timing was very important on my end, because I did have great resources around me.
Sure.
But I also wanted to make sure that it was not about the money, about capitalization on the intellectual property, but that it was going to be handled correctly.
Right.
And the way I believe it was intended. Some stubbornness, but also some insight and some discernment on that end. But yeah, I was nervous. I mean, come on, you're an open book. No pun intended. But that's, I kind of, what I did on that is kind of shine the light off of me and put a lot of stories of other people in there. And it needs to be a little bit about me, because what I think that I bring to the table, and I'm not putting myself on there, which is not just the education, not needing that DR in front of my name at that moment, but the education, the experience of what I've done for others, but more importantly, the empathy that I know how when you're sick, how it looks like. And I know you know that.
Yep.
Because the priorities in life, your perspective in life really change.
They shift quickly.
And they shift quickly. And so the book, on a business aspect, the book was first, because, you're throwing out some branding and whatnot. So, the order of events is that, then the call to action, which it's a whole new world for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, look, I just know how to regulate your nervous system. I don't know this crap. But I realized, I needed to do those things. And so the book was great. And people are like, oh, congratulations on the book. And in my mind, it's actually anxiety-stricken, not because, oh, my whole life is open and everything, but also, wait a second, now I want to share and I want to do this. And that was just like the gun starting, like the start, bam, now let's go. So it was like, whew, I don't even think about the book until my current clientele comes back. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? That's all I needed? I was like, oh my gosh. In that case, I should have done that 5 years ago.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
But I didn't have the resources. And like I said, his timing.
Yep.
I didn't
You
know
weren't ready
the
for that
confidence.
yet.
Yeah, didn't have the confidence. Could I duplicate myself? Could I, because I had 17-hour clientele. I mean, and that was another thing that some of my clients said have great online platforms. Were like, why do you have a brick and mortar, Danielle? You'd be making more money. I'm like, what do I do with my, like that I couldn't. Those are my dear friends.
Yeah.
I need a facility that is part of me that they could go to. And I know it sounds selfish, but I also knew what what I was giving.
Well,
and I also knew what I had to kind of give, because there's no competition for me.
Right. And here's the thing too. It's like brick and mortar still works today.
Oh, it needs to. Yeah.
It's a combination of both, because we all need the human connection. Zoom calls, this, that, the other, phone calls, emails, text message. Like, I get it. But people still like this, the human touch.
Very much so.
It's so important, especially in today's world.
And almost the most important, because that's really all we have.
Right.
It's really all we have. I mean, God, we sometimes dabble into conspiracy theory. So, one of the things is that your heart has a neural network of its own. It gives off most powerful EMF, which is electromagnetic frequency, of about 6 feet. So there's a little, they wanted us to be separated during COVID, 6 feet. It was originally 5 feet, believe it or not. And then CDC says, no, 6 feet. Like, what is that extra foot going to do? So the point being is that, you kind of think, well, is it because they wanted to have that distance of that personal effect? And everybody felt it. That was when I got to do it now, is that turning point was going to be one of those things that said, oh, that environmental spoke. Everybody's nervous system is going to be dysregulated. Yep. This is.
We were all shot.
We are shot, and then it was almost a point of no return.
Yeah. Still,
it is, and that's without conspiracy theory.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like a COVID hangover.
Yeah.
On still some of this stuff, you're like, seriously?
Seriously.
I just feel bad on some of the kids that, adult, you can kind of make a
correct.
You can correct. With these kids?
During their developmental, this is all they know. And again, they're in survival mode. I mean, everybody was in survival mode. Yeah. We had to be. And that post-traumatic syndrome of that is still there. And that was a limiting factor in my mind. Here I am looking for a brick and mortar at the time that we had no idea. I mean, it was 2021 that I signed that 5-year lease, hoping to get a 10-year lease. And I was like, nope, I know this is going to be it. I don't know how. It's going to happen, but this is something I need to have a central location for the people that I love, the people that I've been around, my community that have supported me through 15 years, that they have a place. And then with a vision for a bigger one. And I'll wait for that for my team.
Yeah.
Now, that happened in July, and it was weird because I didn't solicit it. It was someone this, and someone came in and just said, okay, this is what we're going to do. And I was like, I didn't even have a time to say no. And I love my team. Boy, they are great. They are great. And we have some great things coming up. So I'm really excited. I'm really happy about that.
I'm excited. We've come a long way. I know we didn't get into too many personal stories.
But we almost died together.
We almost died together. Share that. Let's share that story real quick, and then we'll wrap up.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so
because it was your family.
I had some family. Yeah,
gathering.
We Lake Havasu, and I don't know. I mean, I'm not Lake Havasu. Havasu Falls. Havasu Pie Falls, which is in northeastern, right before Grand Canyon. And it is a beautiful place. I think Kim Kardashian ruined it for the world. Yeah. No offense. She, went there, and then, of course,
we know she didn't hike down. But anyway,
no, she didn't hike. It's a 13, yeah, exactly. It's a 13-mile hike down, and I invited Kim and Dave. And lo and behold, it was September, I think 3rd or 4th, something
Yeah.
like that. And, right in the middle of monsoon season and stuff. So if you know it, there's a series of falls. You got camping ground, and then there's a big fall. And anything further down that, it meets up. It's about a half mile.
It feeds into the
Colorado River at the Grand Canyon. And these are canyon walls. We're talking, 400 or
God.
500 feet tall.
Yes.
And when you get into the canyon further, not the Grand Canyon, but this little sliver, it's beautiful.
It almost
And
feels like Jurassic Park.
It is like Jurassic
it's
Park.
like-
It is has its own like ecosystem.
Yeah.
And one of the things, it's lime rock, so the water tables, it's natural falls, and so it's crystal blue water, and it's Native American that runs that whole thing. So you can wade down, and you have to go down this sketchy side and the sketchy ladder to get down, and it's called Mooney Falls. You can look it up, and you could wade through there. And my family is way down, and we were there, and you look up, and it's not even 100 yards across. And we asked a teenage Native American, which is our quote-unquote guide, saying, hey, when should we head up if it starts raining? He goes, well, if it starts raining, you're about 10 minutes up to there, and you'll be fine. And sure enough, it started raining a little bit, but the water changed. It rose like in a 2-minute thing, about 2 feet, and it turned brown.
It looked like Willy Wonka chocolate factory.
And it
like,
changed.
Like that.
And I looked at them, and I was like, you know what? And it's a zigzag, wading through the water. And we just looked at each other. And within 10 minutes, helicopter comes. I mean,
Remember
it was that. Hey, he was like, run. And and I'm trying to tell them my family is further down.
So in other words, a flash flood was coming.
It was a flash flood.
Like
It was bad.
You can't play around with this kind
And
of
it had
stuff.
only happened one other time 30 years before. Oddly enough, it's happened a couple of times. And I think one person a couple of years ago actually got a husband and wife.
Remember the horses? They lost 6 horses while we were there.
So anyways, it was, we almost didn't make it across. And my family had to get helicoptered out.
Yep.
And like I said, that was the first time that ever happened.
That is
And that was what, 2013?
Uh-huh.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, people are like, yeah, whatever, you did.
No.
Seriously, like, it was right on the edge.
Yeah, it was. I mean, and then we were told just not even to get our camping gear because there was several, and it was an odd situation. It wasn't just a flash flood. From there was a levee at a farmer that broke. So it was a 30-foot wave through the canyon that was coming in, and it was insane. So it was hilarious.
All right, we'll put some pictures. Hopefully we can dig up a couple pictures, and we'll put that on there so you can see. Okay, so if someone wants to come see you,
Okay, me.
and they're local,
Yes.
how do we get a hold of you? What's the best way?
Go to Believe Fitness and Wellness. You can Google it. Believe, and it's B3. Let me talk to you about that real quick. B3 LIEVE Fitness and Wellness. And then my online is b3.life,
Nice.
LIFE, okay? The B3, what is that? It's the new perspective. It's balance your nervous system is your goal on everything with a fitness and wellness. That if it doesn't balance your nervous system, don't do it. The next thing is choose your basics. Less is more. The third is boundaries. Too much of a good thing is a bad thing, okay? So if you apply that, you're going to be fine. That's regulating your nervous system.
Love it.
And so b3.life will get you registered for the webinar coming up in about a couple weeks, but it'll also give you more stuff on me, access to the course, all of the above. That's what you want to follow, b3.life. But locally, Believe Fitness and Wellness.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, we'll put some of that down below, so in that way you can click on the link and make it easy. Listen, I'm gonna need to bring you back in here, probably in the next 4 to 5 months, like a little check-in.
Definitely.
Because again, I think what you're doing, more people need Danielle.
Very much so. Thank you.
I mean,
Thank you so much. I'm passionate about it. I love it, and yeah, it's easy. It's an easy application.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I'm proud of you. Hello.
No, I'm proud of you.
Oh.
Listen, I hope you enjoyed today's podcast with Danielle. If you liked what you saw, hit that like button and also subscribe. And listen, I am interviewing these types of people on a weekly basis, so make sure to tune in. And as always, let's make it a great day.
Yes.